Hey everybody, what's up? Circus here, coming at you with the KC Cup edition interview with Negative1. I'm pretty excited to always have Neg on the show. How are you doing, buddy?
Doing well, doing well.
Now, in case you guys don't know, Neg is qualified for Worlds, but there's no Worlds this year technically, right?
Yeah, so instead of doing worlds, because, we can't have a ton of people grouping up together, potentially all contracting coronavirus, instead, they're doing an online event
Mm-hmm.
called the Casey Cup Grand Tournament.
Okay, and now this time around it's like the RRQ, except we're all competing to get into the top 100, so we can get into the mystery event that happens afterwards, right?
Yeah, so currently the format is the top 100 people who aren't already qualified for Worlds will, from the KCGT will qualify to the, I guess, main tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And so we don't actually know the format yet. We speculate that it will be a dual room of 105 people. However, we don't know for sure. But from there, it will go from 105 people to a top 16 bracket and
Okay.
then to champion.
All right. So, are there going to be good prismatic rewards for the rest of us folk that don't make it? I hope.
Um,
I mean, because this is the RRQ this time around, basically, right?
yeah. So I think the interesting thing about this RRQ is that you don't actually need to be like top one or top three in your region. You just have to be top 100 global.
And that's a little bit easier, right? I would think.
Generally, yeah.
Okay.
So that's so instead of like maybe 10 people from RQ qualifying to the next stage, it's 100 people qualifying to the
Right.
next stage.
And even though you're already guaranteed a spot, you're going to go in there and try to steal one from somebody, right?
I'm actually not stealing anything because if
Right, right.
in the rules they mention that if someone who's already guaranteed a spot gets top 100, they'll just pass the spot down.
So,
So if
why?
you're 100 first place, you could potentially still make it.
Yeah, so keep playing at the end. So, why are you playing then? What's the point?
Well, for glory.
For glory and the prismatics, right? Be honest.
Yeah.
Of
And the
course.
gold, you know. I need more. Oh, and the title, no?
What?
The
First
one that
place?
the one that pops up on screen for like
Oh,
a
right.
millisecond every
Do,
PvP duel.
do you have one that pops up that says like first place KC Cup 2020 or November
It doesn't
20?
even say that. I think it says like top 10 KC Cup or like
Oh God,
top
they
player.
couldn't even give
Yeah,
you a champion role.
it's a feels bad.
Yeah, I'd say. Um, all right, so let's dig into a little bit. We did a video a couple like last week with Herf, and people were calling it shenanigans on him. I don't know. After playing through the meta a little bit here in stage one, I don't think Herf is that far off. He predicted that Cyber Dragons are going to have a huge KC Cup. What do you think?
I think so. There's three decks that I think will be pretty major.
Mm-hmm.
So those are Cyber Dragons, Black Queens, and Shiranui.
Okay. What about the best deck
So
in the game?
yeah, so if you look at these three, you look at Cyber Dragons, and it's very high octane. It's an OTK deck.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the last KC Cup, it was very OTK focused.
Right.
And out of all the OTK decks, the only ones that didn't get hit were Cyber Dragons and Black Wings.
Black Wings. Okay.
Everything else was like Thunder Dragons. That deck doesn't exist anymore. Hero, that got nerfed in a few ways. So the remaining OTK decks, Cyber Dragons and Black Wings, they're still around.
Okay. So, which one would you prefer?
It's hard to say, but I think uh, each one has their pros and cons.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at Cyber Dragons, I would say their only real bad matchup is maybe against Crystron.
Okay.
So if you look at Dark Magician, they beat Dark Magician very easily. If you look at Black Queens, they have a pretty good matchup against Black Queens. If you look at Element Sabers, they're pretty good at OTKing Element Sabers because Sabers is a very back row focused deck right now,
Mm-hmm.
and they can just OTK through back row like it's nothing.
Right.
And then
You think we're gonna see Element Sabers this time around?
I think we may. Sabers are just a really. They have a high ceiling because of concentrating current, because of Trio, because of Cicadas.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I think it's unfair to say that they won't be around, but I don't think that they will be the most played deck in any stretch.
Okay. So are there any other matchups that Cyber Dragons just win every time? It seems like a lot of them. It seems like every time I play against them, they start with core and then it's over, right? I don't think I've ever played against someone that didn't have core.
Yeah. So Cyber Dragons, uh, they're very good with core. Another weakness is that if they don't have core, things might not always go their way. But it's when you
Right.
do have core that you're almost auto winning some matchups.
Mm-hmm.
So having that really strong baseline is very effective.
All right. So Black Wings, that's not a deck. I might have seen it once or twice this whole stage one. Is it just the cost to get into the deck? It's just something you don't see a lot of.
Yeah, so I think first of all, it's not very accessible, 3 Whirlwind, 3 Sea Moon. I don't see many people playing it. However, it's both fast, it can OTK, it has access to Necro Valley.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just really strong against a lot of other decks because it also can run like Blackbird Close. So all these factors make it a really strong deck.
Mm-hmm.
Its only real weakness is against like not other, is against control decks. So like you look at Shiranui and you look at um, Element Savers. Those decks really give Black Queens a hard time because of all the back row.
Okay. And then you were saying Shiranui is your third pick. Is that just because it's so easy to get and everybody's got it, so it's just a numbers thing?
I think it's a lot. Part of it's definitely that it's the most accessible deck, I think,
Mm-hmm.
or at least the core of the deck, the Squires and the Solitaires, all
Right.
of that is in the same box. So if you're free to play, it's the easiest deck to tame.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also because Sun Saga is hard to out for Cyber Dragons. Their back row is pretty strong against Black Queens. So these factors let it, have a chance against the OTK decks.
Okay. So is there anything that's a little off meta that you think that might have a chance? Like Goki's, Mayakashi. I've been playing some Ritual Beast and doing all right. I played a little bit of the new my favorite Neos deck, whatever you want to call it. Little Luna Lights. I mean, what do you think?
So of the like less common decks, I think so Mayakashi, I think it's a little too weak.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's too many things holding it back for it to really take off, so I don't think it will do very well. Goki, it has some potential because it can just continually float. So one of the problems with control decks is that you just run out of cards
Right.
against like stronger decks. But with Goki, you will always have a monster if you open a monster. So
Okay.
they can maintain card advantage that way.
Mm-hmm.
As for like other less common decks, you see Crystron's more in tournaments now. However, on ladder it's still very rare.
Very rare. Yeah.
But I think it could see an upswing in usage this KC Cup because of just like various matchups being positive.
And we know at least one person that's gonna be playing them, right?
Yep, yep.
What about a little bit lower down? Anything else? So, there's a lot
Um,
of people out there that might not have any of the decks you just mentioned. Like I said, you got the Neos deck. I've seen a lot of Luna Lights, a lot of Neos. Trying to think of what else I've been seeing, but you see a lot of stuff like that. Dark Magician. I guess a lot of people have that, but yeah,
yeah, so going into the less common tiers, uh,
the less
I
common
think you,
tiers. We're now below high potential.
yeah, I mean, there's still like, there's always going to be cancer,
Well,
ones
yeah,
running shadow game with
Shadow Game Stall. I see a
who
lot
knows what.
of. Yep, you see a lot of that. Um, what else? You send Jews, right? You send Jews.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of group it with the shadow game decks just because
Hmm.
they behave similarly. Um,
Right.
I think some of the lower ranking decks, they have their issue is that they don't have multiple good matchups against the most played strategies.
Right.
Look at, say, Lunalights, and they do decently well against, say, Shiranui, but against Cyber Dragons,
Oh, it's
not very
terrible.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's terrible.
yeah. Or
Uh,
if you look at, say, Blue Eyes, I know
mhm.
that's
Oh yeah, Blue
another.
Eyes. I've seen a lot of Blue Eyes. They love doing that alternative dragon, then they summon out the Vermilion Dragon mech, and they
Yeah,
try to pop two or three cards in one turn.
yeah. So Blue Eyes it has big monsters. It can swing over things. However, it sometimes is just not fast enough. So like if you go second into Cyber Dragons, you just kind of lose because you
Right.
can't get your monsters out to swing over theirs.
Hmm.
Or against like Shiranui, you can't get your monsters out or prevent them from summoning a Sun Saga.
Hmm.
Those sorts of things.
Oh, what about everybody's favorite? Some sort of spellcasters into quintet. I've seen a lot of variations of that.
That you're gonna see. Well, it depends how high you go, but I don't think that's gonna be very successful
Right.
as you climb up.
Where do you think kind of that cutoff is? Last KC Cup for me, I would say it was right around like 20, 25,000. I stopped seeing those kind of decks.
I think it's been recently. It's been rising. Like
Right.
before, you'd maybe see some memes at the start, but it'd go away after a while. Now it's been like you see memes more for a longer time.
Yeah.
So I'd guess maybe a lot more like 30 to 35
Oh wow,
range,
you're
maybe.
saying even that high, huh?
Anything's possible.
Well, some people do play Crystons with SSA, so I mean, if people
That's
do
true.
that, people will play anything nowadays. So are you're gonna go hard this time around, right?
Yeah. So I feel like, um, as I said, like I don't have to try very hard, but like, I mean, I enjoy what I do,
Hmm.
and I have fun, and I really want to prove myself, so I may as well
Right.
do my best.
Well, here's a good question for you, because you said, oh, I don't have to try hard because I'm -1. Um, no, seriously though, the whole slow deck that consistently wins versus a quick deck that either wins quick or loses quick. Obviously, you're gonna be playing. Well, we can't say out loud, but you'll be playing a slow deck, right?
So I'll. It's very possible that I might play Crystons.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
just as a
Surprise.
hypothetical. We don't know it for sure yet.
Right.
Um, but it's commonly known that Crystons is a very slow deck, and
Hmm.
the KC Cup is generally rewarding to the faster decks. However, I think in the early stages, win count does matter. However, um, into the really high rankings, what matters most is your win rate
Okay.
because you're going to be paired against other well-performing players, and if you're always paired against well-performing players, they're not going to make a lot of the same mistakes. If they know what deck you're playing, they may run cards that just like stop you. So
Hmm.
running like something that may just win very fast, it will definitely help racking up points near the beginning. But at some point, you're going to have to switch to something more consistent. Yeah.
So in the beginning, we like to call that the circus zone, because a lot of us never leave the circus zone. So when you're down there, maybe play something that's a little bit quicker.
Yeah, I definitely think in the early stages you can get away with something that isn't as reliable just because the overall level, this overall skill level is lower, so you can get away with something maybe a little more gimmicky
Hmm.
that just wins. Like the games are decided in 10 seconds, honestly. You look at your hand and you say, I win or I lose,
Okay.
and then you can just get a ton of points.
All right. And so then once you get higher up, switch over to something the old reliable, the standby that you can win with. All right. So are you gonna go like hard all weekend? I mean, what do? You stay up all night?
Well, I'm definitely gonna try day one, and
Yeah.
if it goes really bad, maybe I'll stop. But I feel like definitely gonna give it my best, and I really like I enjoy the game, so
Right. Well, you
I'm gonna
said
play.
the past couple ones you take time to sleep, right? And you eat and things like that, where some people don't do either.
I think it's a mistake not to sleep.
Yeah.
Being well rested is like too important in both like just general health, but also like your mental ability.
Right.
Like,
That's what I would think. After a while, if you're really tired and you've been up like 20 hours and you're just strung out on whatever monster, I would think that you're not probably thinking as straight as you might want to when you're trying
yeah,
to figure out what to do next in a game.
yeah. If you're falling half asleep, doing like being half awake and throwing games for like an hour can honestly be more detrimental than not playing that whole hour.
Right. Because yeah, I mean, if you just sit there and lose what 10, 15,000, what's the point?
Yeah. At that point, you should have just gone to sleep.
Right. Well, that kind of ties into if you're just losing games like that, just take a break, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I should follow my own advice, your advice. Like if you lose like two or three games, just stop. Right. That's what I would do. I mean, where's your limit?
Uh, when it's like 4 or 5 games is when I like take a moment to assess, is it me or is it the RNG?
Oh, okay. What what is it usually? RNG?
Uh, it can be both. It
Yeah.
can be, well, I just played the same against the same like auto win combo
Mm-hmm.
now, or I just like I opened dead cards at 3 games in a row. I couldn't play anything. My opponent had, you know, core or circle navigation, what it
Right.
whatever it be. But you also have to assess that even if I'm losing to those decks, is it like is it RNG? Maybe, yeah. But it also could be that I'm running the wrong deck at this time, you know?
Oh, okay. See, I'm always afraid to make a change. That's my problem. I'm always like, if I make a change now, is it just gonna be more detrimental? Not necessarily decks, but just even a few cards in there. Because it's like, oh, if I take that out, I might run into a spot where I need it. I always find it hard to make that assessment.
Yeah, it can be difficult to know like when to change or like how much to change.
Hmm.
But that's like I guess that's part of the skill of Casey Cup, knowing what how to adapt to what's going on around you.
And it does it change pretty quick once you start getting near the top? Because I'm guessing Everybody's just trying to find the spice, right? So they can pull ahead.
Uh, it can be like that, yeah. There are times when the first place is just running something really strange, and that people notice, and then everybody is running that strange deck.
Oh, okay.
I think that
I
happened in
suppose.
like what?
Oh, I suppose that would happen, right? Because it's like, well, he's in
Yeah,
first. I want to be in first also.
yeah. I think if you look at the September Casey Cup, there was a point when first place was running Counter Trap Desperado, and that was a deck that nobody had played before then. And
Okay.
so when that like when the rankings updated at some point and first place is Sartorius, everyone's like, wait, what's going on?
Right.
Because before then, Dark Lords were all over the place.
Hmm.
So instead of playing Dark Lords, a ton of people switched over to Counter Trap Desperado.
Well, you'd almost think if you were that guy, then you'd have to have like another deck ready to counter that, right? Big brain. It's like, oh, everybody's gonna copy my deck. What deck counters this one?
Yeah, that's like I guess that's actually part of preparation, but that doesn't happen to majority of the player base. So I don't
Well,
think that's like good advice to give.
well,
When you're in.
I hope you're ready to have someone counter to Kristrons, right? If you play Kristrons.
More if hypothetically if I play Kristrons, I already have the counter ready.
Yeah, I see. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, big
Yeah,
brain.
yeah. But I'm not gonna be give the advice of when you're in first place and people start countering you, be ready to have a counter strategy for their counter strategy. You know?
We could be talking, or the person that's gonna win this next KC Cup could be watching us right now, Neg, and they might be taking your advice.
Okay, that's fair.
You never know.
Consider doing that, person.
Yes, that one person. It could be anybody. Could even be you. Probably not. You had your turn.
Mm, maybe I don't know.
Now I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for you. I hope you get it. That'd be cool to see you win two KC Cups. You should have had two already. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
trying to get as many as I can.
Yeah, they're like Super Bowl rings, right?
Yeah.
That's a sport, by the way. It's a
Oh,
American football.
oh, really? I
Yeah,
never heard of it.
yeah. All right, guys, we're gonna get out of here. I hope you enjoyed the video. Nago, it's always a good pleasure to have you on here.
Yeah, for sure.
So make sure to take Neg's advice. Make sure to get some sleep, eat some food, take breaks, and I guess just get prepared to play a lot of games over the weekend. All right, so if you liked everything, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, Twitch, Twitter, Discord, all that good stuff. And we'll see you next time. I'm Circus, that's Neg1. See ya.
Peace.